UNC, the Tar Heels, they're slowly putting things together. I'm starting to feel momentum, dare I say. Don't make me look bad, right? As soon as we start believing in you, don't let the wheels fall off. You're slowly starting to put things together. Beat Cal 79-53 last night. Hubert Davis, head coach, talked about putting Cal away, specifically in the second half.
Well, I thought the key in the second half, in particular, was Seth, Jay Witt, Jay Wash, and Vin. I just felt Seth was off the chart. His energy, effort, attention to detail, he was all over the place. He was getting rebounds, deflections, steals, running in transition, scoring at the basket, passing, just his overall activity on both ends of the floor just made winning plays everywhere. And those other three that I mentioned, and I just felt like that was the huge key for us to be able to extend the lead in the second half was just their energy and their effort. And I was really proud of them. I told the team that was the key in the second half.
They're putting their roster in better positions now than they were a month ago and 2 months ago. And it was always going to take time to move on from RJ Davis as a centerpiece. That was never going to be an easy move. But they've made the transition now. Right? It was never going to be 4 games into the season. RJ's not shooting well. Let's go ahead and shuffle up how we design this team, put something else in the centerpiece role. It was going to have to be over a longer period of time. Other guys were going to – you also weren't going to ever just turn the wheel over, right? It would have to be, all right, we're going to go from 70% of the time RJ's in the middle to 65% to 60 to 55. You weren't just going to flip it all the way. But they've made the transition now. It's been about 7 games of UNC since Ian Jackson kind of wrestled the steering wheel away. UNC basketball stat, shout out to them on Twitter, gave us this little nugget of information. With Ian Jackson's 20 points scored last night against Cal, he now has 159 in the last 7 games. That is 1 away, right? So 160 is the record for a freshman in any 7 consecutive games, and that's held by Tyler Hansborough back in the 2005-2006 season. Ian Jackson is scoring at a level similar to Tyler Hansborough's freshman year. That's huge. That's the guy that you build around. And even at that point in time, when Hansborough was young, it took him a while not to start producing, obviously, but for everybody else to go like, all right, yeah, I guess he's the dude. An underrated difference is this. They don't panic now or get antsy when RJ Davis isn't shooting well. Earlier in the year, there were a bunch of games where RJ was, 2 for 9, 2 for 11 from 3, something like that, and it seemed like it immediately shook their core and they were scrambling. He didn't shoot well last night. Didn't seem like – I don't want to say they didn't notice, but it wasn't like, oh, no, what are we going to do? It was like, all right, pal, you're going to have to take a couple more jumpers. Ian Jackson, be ready to get to the bucket. Where's Van Allen Lubin? Do you have anything going on down low? Like, it was just very much coordinated and there was a plan. And then you have to give credit to UNC for doing everything they can to play big. They out-rebounded Cal by a bunch. Now, Cal's not a big team, but neither is UNC. Right? Cal doesn't trot out a bunch of 7-footers. Neither does UNC. They out-rebounded Cal by a bunch, and they did it with a concentrated effort by everyone. Every starter had between 3 and 7 rebounds. Even Elliot Cadeau, who is a true set-up point guard and one of the smaller guys, he had 3 rebounds. Off the bench, Van Allen Lubin had 8. Trimble had 6. Withers had 4. Right? Everybody was aware if you think you have an opportunity for a rebound, you have to go put the effort in. You have to be in position. You have to make it happen. That's the only way against a team like Cal that you're going to win the rebounding battle by a bunch. When you play other bigger teams in both conference play and the postseason, you are going to have that kind of effort just to stay close in the rebounding margin. You're not going to have the guy that averages 9.7 rebounds per game, and when you need him, he'll pull down 15. You're not going to have that, which is strange for UNC because they've had that guy for 75 consecutive years. I don't know. As far back as I can remember, they've always had that guy. So 75 might not be, completely true, but it feels like it.
Might not even be long enough.
True. It might be 100 years. Might have been. This is the first time ever they don't. Like it's that kind of game. But you don't have them, and they're not going to walk through that door. Armando Bacot's not walking through that tunnel. Not unless he's in street clothes and he's just supporting his bros. So somebody's going to have to rebound. Hubert Davis talking about Ian Jackson, the player I mentioned who's scoring at a nearly Hansboroughian freshman clip. Here's Hubert talking about Ian.
I mean, the communication between me and Ian is you can't get any higher than that. I mean, we just and the reason being is he's willing to be coached, and just the conversations that we have. I think he trusts me that everything that I say and I'm trying to do is in the best interest of him being the best that he can be. And when you have a player that wants to be coached and you combine that with just the giftedness that he naturally has, it's something special.
It is something special. And do you know what this is? Maybe it's too, I don't know, I'm like too stereotypical. I think the fact that Hubert Davis played a bunch of years with the New York Knicks helps his communication with Ian Jackson.
It might be a New York City kid.
New York point guard. He knows the New York Knicks. There's something there. There's something there. And then his, Drake Powell, I'm pretty sure is Hubert's cousin. So yeah. There's a lot, and that's not like a joke. Like I think they're actually cousins. There's communication there that should be extremely effective between the head coach and his two stud freshmen. UNC's turning some things around. It may have been a slow turn, but better late than never.